Hi guys, got requested for the back of your practice test, a little video here. So here we go. Most of the time it's gonna be spent on number 9 and 10 probably, but it's probably worth it. So you read the problem in class today. You know it's about a mountain, trying to figure out how tall the mountain is. You draw yourself a little picture. There's gonna be my mountain right there, it's blue. And the ground's gonna come this way. You got angle of elevation going here. That one's 32 degrees. The one that's closer, it says, is 35 degrees. And it says it's 1,000 feet between the 2 points where they are looking at the mountain. The height of the mountain is X, that's what I'm looking for. So that's my right triangle right there. I don't know the hypotenuse. There's not really enough info, so I'm gonna put another variable up there. I'm gonna put a Y right there where the between a 35-degree angle and the height of the mountain, which gives me this. That gives me 2 right triangles. One has a 35. I'm going tangent because I'm looking at opposite over adjacent. Make sure that makes sense, the X over the Y. If I do tangent 32, the opposite's still X, but the adjacent's the whole bottom. And the whole entire bottom is 1,000 plus Y. All right, now I'm gonna use this equation over here. I'm gonna solve it for X or Y, so that I can use substitution and plug it in over here so I can find out the stuff I need. Anytime you have 2 variables, you really, in one equation, you cannot solve it for one variable, or either one of them really, without doing some kind of substitution. So I'm gonna solve it for X, because that's the easiest way to go. So multiply both sides by Y, and I get X equals, this is a big deal. That's a big deal. That's what X is, Y tangent 35. Because that's what X is, I'm gonna put it in for X in the other equation. So I'm going to substitute it right there and put Y tangent 35 in my numerator. My denominator is 1,000 plus Y. All right, what I'm going to do next, because there's a fraction bar means divide. To get rid of it, I'm going to multiply, basically cross multiplying right here. I'm multiplying tangent 32 times 1,000 and tangent 32 times Y. But what I'm going to do first, I'm going to go ahead and punch in tangent 32 into my calculator, and it gives me 0.625. So I'm doing 0.625. That's really 0.625 times 1,000, which is 625. And I'm going to do 0.625 times Y, which is 0.625Y. Okay, so I just cross multiplied right there. Now, what that leaves me is the numerator over here, which is Y tangent 35. So I'm also going to go ahead and punch in tangent 35. And it's like 0.70002. So I'm just going to put 0.7Y. Okay, so basically what I did is I used my calculator to change those trig functions into decimals. All right, I'm going to move that 0.625 over to the other side. So I'm doing 0.7 minus 0.625. That gives me 0.075y. Then I'm just going to divide. 625 divided by 0.075. I forgot my 0 right there. So right there it is, 0.075. And it gives me 8333. By the way, that's that part right there. So the whole bottom would be 9333, okay, because that's just a Y part. Now, the good news is that what I did at the beginning, and I'm looking for the height of the mountain, by the way. Okay, I'm looking for the X up there. And what I underlined over here a minute ago is the X. X is Y tangent 35, which means Y times tangent 35. I know what Y is now. Y is 8333. So I'm going to do that times tangent 35. And that's going to give me the height of the mountain. So I'm doing 8333 times tangent 35, and I get 5835 feet for the height of the mountain. So it's quite a bit. It's not difficult stuff, but it is, it's quite a process. So really be careful working through that one. I like that one quite a bit. Okay, let's see what we got here for number 10. Number 10 says f of g of x. To find f of g of x, you're going to take function g, plug it into function f, which is going to look like 1 over x plus 2 minus 1. All right, now, but this says to find the domain also, and its domain. So the domain of a composition of function is you take the domain of the last one, which is like, that would be x cannot equal to -2. And also you look at your final answer right here and do domain of it. Well, because it's a radical, radicals have to be positive. So I'm going to have to take what's inside that radical out and set it greater than or equal to 0. All right, now to solve that, I need to make one big fraction over here. The denominator is x plus 2. There's a 1 on top already. I'm going to take this 1 right here. That's really 1 over 1. That 1 right there needs to be x plus 2, which means I got to multiply the numerator by x plus 2. Negative 1 times x plus 2 is negative x minus 2. So here's what it gives me. My numerator is now negative x minus 1. My denominator is x plus 2. And to solve that, that's where we did these sign graphs way back. So I got to figure out what makes the numerator 0 and what makes the denominator 0, and that's what's going to go on my sign graph. Well, what makes the top 0 is negative 1. You got to look at that for a second to figure that out. And if you're not sure, you can always go over to the side somewhere and do this and solve it. And what makes the denominator 0 is negative 2. So my sign graph, I'm putting negative 2 and negative 1. All right, so you know what number we always plug in? Plug in 100. If I plug in 100 on the top, it gives me a huge negative number. I guess I should say a small negative number. If I plug 100 on the bottom, it gives me, 102, which is positive. Negative out of positive is negative, so it means everything over here is negative, everything there is plus, everything over there is minus. Because this says greater than 0, I'm looking for the pluses, which is between negative 2 and 1. So my answer is going to be everything between negative 2 and 1 is in the domain. But don't forget this, it can't equal negative 2, so I'm going to put a parentheses with the negative 2. It's okay to equal 1 because that's not, there's nothing against the 1. So there you go, another doozy. Excuse me there. Trying to erase this stuff. It's not letting me. Sorry. There we go. All right, number 11. Find the inverse. Remember inverse? You switch your x and y's and get the y by itself. So I can put the x over here, the y over here, and you have to get rid of the cube and the 4. The way you get rid of a cube is you take the cube root. So I take the cube root of each side. Now I got to get the y by itself, so the 4's got to go. By the way, if that had been a square root in that problem, I'd have to put a plus or minus in front of the radical, but it wasn't. So I'm putting in the plus 4. And remember at the end, put your inverse of f symbol instead of just a y. All right, number 12. 12, find the average rate of change between these two things. Rate of change, another word for slope. So I'm really thinking like this, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That's what I'm thinking. All right, those are my x's. So I'm going to take the second x, 3 minus h, subtract out the first x, which is 3. All right, now to get my y's, I'm going to plug these two in. If I plug in 3 minus h in there, that would give me 2 times 3 minus h squared. Remember, square, multiply together, double, square. And I'm going to distribute the 2, except I'm going to put it back up there in the fraction. So 2 times 9 is 18, 2 times 6 is 12, 2 times h squared is 2h squared. And I'm going to subtract out this one. I'm going to plug in the 3. And if I plug 3 in there, 3 squared is 9, 9 times 2 is 18, so just get minus 18. All right, now I'm going to simplify as much as I can. 18s cancel on the top, the 3's cancel on the bottom, so I have this. I got negative 12h plus 2h squared over negative h. Notice everything has h's, so I'm going to cancel the h's, but also there's a negative on the bottom, so I'm going to divide the negative into the top also. So negative divided by negative is a positive 12. The h's cancel there. Negative goes into positive, making the negative. The h's cancel here, so I get a 2h. There it is. That's the average rate of change right there. All right, let's get this last piecewise, and we're done. Okay, piecewise. Remember, always start. Let's plug in the negative 4 here. So I'm going to take the negative 4, plug it right there. If I plug in negative 4, it becomes negative 4, which is positive 4. So I'm going to go to negative 4, positive 4, and I'm putting an empty circle because there's no equal sign. After you get your first point, always check your slope. Your slope is negative 1. Usually with negative 1, I would go down 1, right 1. But I cannot go to the right. That sign right there tells me I have to go to the left. So I'm going to do the opposite of down right, and that's up left, right? So connect those. There's the first piece of the piecewise. You may not believe me, but the middle part is the easiest part because they tell you where to start and where to stop. Plug the negative 4 in, you just get negative 1. So I'm going negative 4, negative 1. Actually, I didn't count those right in the first one. Negative 4, negative 1 is right here. Then plug in the 2. 2, negative 1 is there, right here. I just noticed on my first part. Let me fix this. This is live TV, by the way. When I plugged I went to negative 6. I need to put the point at negative 4 right there. Sorry about that. And I went up 1 over 1. That's the first part. So sorry. Like I said, live TV. What do you expect? Okay, so take the 2, plug it in there. If you plug it in there, you get negative 2 plus 4, which is 2. So I'm going to go to 2, 2. filled in circle on that one. By the way, another live TV mistake. That should be an empty circle with the 2 because there's no equals there. And look at the slope. Always check slope. Slope's in front of the x. Slope is -1. This time I am okay to go down 1, right 1 because the arrow's pointing to the right. I've got to go greater than the 2. Got to go to the right of the 2. Draw your graph, your line. There you go. There's your piecewise. All right. I get to school very early in the mornings. I'm there, not much after 7:30, if not 7:30. I have lunch completely free. I've got A free. If you need any help at all, please come see me. We'll go through as much as you need. Do good, guys. See you tomorrow.